to the 2020 Aurora Awards with your host, Mark Leslie Lefebvre.
Hello, everyone, from wherever you are in the world. My name is Mark Leslie Lefebvre. Welcome to the 40th Aurora Awards, the 2020 Aurora Awards. We were supposed to be in Calgary, Alberta at host when words collide. Unfortunately, a pandemic had different ideas, but because we are speculative thinkers and doers and creators, we have moved into a different environment. I would like to kick off these ceremonies first with a land acknowledgement, because as we gather, I'm reminded that I now stand in Waterloo, Ontario, on the traditional home of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Neutral peoples. I would like you to please take the time to recognize the traditional home of the land where you are, as we deeply appreciate our historic connection to this land and recognize the contributions that Indigenous peoples have made in shaping and strengthening the land that we now know as Canada. We are grateful for the opportunity to meet here and reaffirm our collective commitment to make the promise and the challenge of truth and reconciliation real across our communities. Thank you. As I said, welcome to the 2020 Aurora Awards. This is a really exciting time. I am in Waterloo, Ontario. I am here with my awesome partner, Liz Anderson, who is off screen and running things, the Wizard of Oz, pulling the strings behind this, behind the scene, all the videos and things that are going on and helping people in the green room. And there are some awesome people already in the green room that you're going to see, as well as some of the nominees who may be able to accept, which is kind of an interesting thing this year, because this is the first time where we weren't limited by geography, that we could actually potentially have people from all over the place. So I'm in Waterloo, Ontario. I know that Cory Doctorow is coming from California, and you can leave comments on Facebook or on YouTube, wherever you're watching, to let us know where you are enjoying this from. Now this, as I said, is the 40th Aurora Awards. They started in Halifax in 1980 at the then HalCon. The awards were originally just the Canadian Science Fiction and Fantasy Award. The name morphed into being called the Caspers, not after the friendly ghost, but it is not clear where that came from. But some say that it comes from the Society's abbreviation, CSFFA, potentially. In 1991 in Calgary, it was voted to change the name and call the awards the Auroras. The following year in Edmonton, the Hotel Convention commissioned artist Frank Johnson to create a trophy to be used that year. It was made of aluminum with a wooden base, and it was so popular and distinctive that it was used for over 25 years. The original design that Frank did is now incorporated into both the nominee pins and the art that is used in this new design, which you're going to see very shortly. Normally, we have an event on Friday where we give the pins to first-time nominees. Instead, we're going to read the names of the nominees, and Cliff's going to show you what the nominee pin looks like, and they will be mailed out to you. Now, we have a lot to celebrate tonight. We have a lot to celebrate because of the excellence in the science fiction and fantasy community. No matter how you are involved in the science fiction and fantasy community, we are here to celebrate you. We want to congratulate and thank all of the nominees and all of the inductees for their contributions to Canadian science fiction and fantasy. We need these movers and shakers and thinkers and doers, because you take us to new worlds, you take us to imagined worlds, you take us to different elements from our world. You connect humans together in the imaginative tales that you're involved in creating and sharing and making the world a better place. So if you have a drink in hand, I ask you to raise a drink in hand in toast and in celebration of all the nominees and all the inductees. Apparently I have, Liz has handed me a wonderful Collective Arts Craft IPA. So cheers to all the nominees and all the inductees. Now let's get started with the first segment. We are going to do the Hall of Fame inductees, and for that, I'm going to ask Clint Budd to come on stage from the side wings. Hey, Clint.
There I am.
Cool. I'm going to step back and let you take over the stage, my friend.
Thanks, Mark. When we began the Hall of Fame, we had to set the ground rules for it. And the ground rules are fairly straightforward. Nominations come from the membership. But unlike the Auroras themselves, the decision as to who will be chosen for the year out of the group of nominees is done by a jury of 5. 4 people that I have to go and look for every single year because they only can serve for 1 year at a time. And the 5th one so far is me, because I act as the chair and the recruiting guy and the detail chap. We agreed at the very beginning, the board and myself did, that we were going to start out with 2 people a year. And although the Hall of Fame is awarded to people in all of the various aspects of science fiction and fantasy, not only novelists, but musicians and scientists and gamers and so on and so on. I think that our description ended with, this list is not limited. And this year, we have been able to offer the Hall of Fame to our very, very first musician, Heather Dale. And I'm very pleased with that, because music is a part of science fiction that frequently, I don't know if it's overlooked, but because it's in the background, but everybody that comes in contact with it knows. And I know that from all of the background responses that we got for Heather's nomination, some of the musicians are very, very popular. So Cliff was going to be helpful by holding up the plaque. And he showed it to me a little earlier. Tilt the top this way a little. No, I guess it's the other way. Yes, there we go. Heather, that's what you'll be getting. You do not get the trophy itself, which is shown with its 2 faces, simply because it sort of belongs to all of us. But your name will go on the brass plaque that you can see on that one. And the same thing will be true of the other 2 this year. Thank you, Cliff. I think the plaque this year, for some reason or other, because it looks just like last year, but when Cliff sent me the photograph of it, I thought it turned out to be particularly magnificent. So, although I cannot physically pick it up and hand it to you, Heather, we're very, very pleased to welcome you into the KISFA Hall of Fame. So if you would like to make some comments on all this, please do. I see the music in the background.
I am so delighted. Thank you very much, Clint. I am absolutely floored by this, beyond honored. I am so deeply connected to this community. I was speechless when everybody contacted me. I was absolutely speechless. I know people are watching us from across Canada. Hello from Toronto, Ontario. And I'm seeing, going by on the comments, we have people from South Africa, Armenia, people who have recognized my music and its impact in their own lives from all over the world. There are an awful lot of us out there who love science fiction and fantasy, who love fanish things. I was that kid. I watched Doctor Who and Blake 7 with my parents and my brother growing up, and none of the kids in the neighborhood seemed to understand why that was cool, but we stuck with it. And I played Dungeons and Dragons and all of those wonderful, wonderful things. And then when I was 18, I discovered medievalism, groups like the SCA who try to bring the best parts of medieval life forward. And I started writing songs. So here I was, a shy 18-year-old, writing songs about King Arthur and the fantasy books that I had read and reread that were pride of place on my shelf. And suddenly people understood. And as soon as that started to happen, the floodgates opened. I was writing music about honor and chivalry and adventure and personal courage and heroes and heroines, and just helping to bring life to this imaginary world that we all make real. Through the next few years, people said, well, you should go to conventions. And I said, I thought conventions, sci-fi conventions, were only in California or San Fran, or I don't know, somewhere really exotic. And they said, no, we have them in Toronto. And so there I went. And suddenly I found a whole new group of people that I belonged with. And so from the very first recordings I did in 1992 to the release of my album, The Trial of Lancelot, which had the now viral hit Mordred's Lullaby in 2000. Fan videos made by people like you are the ones that brought our views on YouTube up over 20 million, and they still increase every day. And I'm absolutely floored by how much this music means to people. And I'm just me. I'm just doing my thing, and I'm trying to put some good art out into the world. Art that tells people that they belong, tells people that they are awesome the way they are, and that they are part of my tribe. Yeah? We're all part of this together, no matter where you are in the world right now. I feel connected to you. So thank you. I am, as I said, beyond honored that my name will be on that trophy as it moves forward and is given to new people throughout the next years, the next decades, the next centuries. And I am deeply thankful for everyone who has followed me on this path and the people who've walked it with me. My husband, Peter, my partner, Ben Deschamps, who's traveled with me for 15 years and continues to do so. And my parents, Peter and Nancy Dale, who really took that little kid who couldn't stop thinking about castles and dragons and pushed her out into the world. So thank you, everyone. Please keep spreading the joy of this community and keep open arms for everybody who's coming in. Thank you again.
Well, I cannot add to that. That summed it up. Cory. Next in line is Cory Doctorow. I don't know. I've heard of you for years, and everything I've heard has just impressed the hell out of me. Science fiction has always been described as the literature of change, and sometimes, daring moments, it's described as the literature of revolution. And I think the literature of revolution in your corner is very definitely there. The things that you've seen that are wrong, you've written about, and you've not only written about them, but you have written what they should be and how to get there. I think the thing that caught my attention in the first place was how you dealt with DRM. That was right around the time that I first got an iPad and discovered that I had to wrestle with the publishers because they had these things tightly grouped. On the other hand, you were giving your stuff away, which must have terrified them. What an idea. But obviously, this isn't just my opinion. It was the opinion of a lot of people who nominated you. and it was certainly the opinion of the jury. So my congratulations, and it's past time for you to be here. And welcome to the KISFO Hall of Fame. So, your turn.
Thank you, Clint. Gosh, you choked me up. So it is an absolute honor with a U and delight to be here and to be accepting this. And the first thing I noticed when they told me I won, and I went and I looked at the list of past winners, is how important so many of those winners had been to my own journey. And the three names that stuck out the most, of course, were Judy Merrill, Tanya Huff, and Lorna Toulis. I sometimes say that my origin story is that I was bitten by a radioactive Judith Merrill as a child, and that's what made me the man I am today. You see, when I was a kid and my mom was doing her master's degree and away at night, my dad and I would watch Doctor Who on TVO, and we'd watch Judy introduce Doctor Who in her inimitable kind of science fiction slappy squirrel mode, where she'd be like, "Let me tell you about the day at the Futurian house that we thought of this thing." And you know, I was endlessly fascinated by it. And I knew my dad kind of knew her from political circles, but I didn't really realize that she was the kind of person you could meet until I was about 9 or 10 years old, and my school took a trip to the Spaced Out Library, the public library that she'd founded, where she was the writer in residence. And there she was in the flesh, twice as large. And she said, "You know, if you've got a story, just bring it to me. Get on the subway, come down from North York to downtown Toronto, bring me your stories, and I'll tell you about it." And over the years, I brought her stories. And my school didn't just visit the Spaced Out Library. We visited Baka Books. And the first time I walked into Baka Books, there was a young woman behind the counter, older than me, but still quite young, named Tanya Huff, who was trying to sell her first short story. And she took me back into the used section and asked me what kind of books I liked, and said, "I think you'd probably enjoy Little Fuzzy," and found me a $1 used copy of it. It was the first book I ever bought with my own money. Over the years, everywhere I went, I found Judy's legacy, not least in the way that the Spaced Out Library became a hub of all of my science fictional activities, and the staff there, particularly Lorna Toulis, another Hall of Famer, was so endlessly patient with all of her patrons and so interested in helping us explore the field. But also my high school, Seed School, had a writers' workshop that Judy had founded a decade later in that very Judy Merrill way of creating an institution that was so robust that even though she'd been absent from it for a decade, it was still existing. It was still going on. There were other institutions that Judy founded that were critical to me. There was the Hydra meetings in Toronto, the bi-monthly meetings that we would have where we would all gather at writers' houses and get to know each other. There was the Cecil Street workshop that met at the Merrill Collection with the likes of Carl Schrader and David Nichol and other writers who are today central to the Canadian science fiction scene. And so I look at these honorees that have come before me, and I feel like I've joined an exalted pantheon. And of course, it's not just Tanya and Judy and Lorna; it's the other writers too. Spider Robinson, whose work I adored as a child, and who responded to a fan letter I wrote him when I was 13 years old, with a letter back that was so kind and encouraging. And I kept it, and I still have it in the box that has crossed the Atlantic Ocean with me 3 times, that I've saved since I was a kid. Charles DeLint, who's signing with Steve Sterling, was the first signing I ever went to, and it was today a friend and peer. Phyllis Gottlieb was on the first panel I ever did at Ad Astra, and even though I was a 17-year-old kid who just sold my first short story to On Spec, she treated me like a peer, this titan of the field. And William Gibson, who was so kind to me the first time I interviewed him for the Globe and Mail, and again treated me like a peer and became a peer and a colleague. Bill, I'm wearing the watch you gave. So all of these things have become central to my own journey, and all of these things are reflected in this trophy that my name is going to be added to. And I think about the years as I became established, when I got to consult on Prisoners of Gravity or see Judith Merrill at the Performing Arts Lodge, and I look back on all of this, and I think the one thing that all of these different aspects of my journey have in common is that they were public institutions. There was my school, there was the library, there was the public broadcaster, there was OnSpec funded by our National Arts Council in Canada. And the thing that we have to say in this moment of crisis as we gather to talk about the future of our field and the future of our species is that our public institutions are under a sustained assault, the likes of which we haven't seen in generations. We have a cohort of voters who would vote for a dead gopher if it would promise them one or both of white supremacy or a nickel off of their taxes. And between those two, our public institutions are diminished to shadows of what they were. And there are generations of borning who could be adding their names to this trophy in the years to come, who may never enjoy those opportunities that I had. We are in a moment of crisis, not just for our public institutions, but for everything. And the answer to that crisis seems to be austerity. That has been the answer to every crisis we've had before, but it cannot be the answer to this crisis. Austerity cannot solve a crisis of want. Giving people less when they need more makes them worse off, not better off. So when we think about what we're living through right now and the tragic deaths of people in long-term care, let's also remember Judith Merrill in the Performing Arts Lodge, having an end of life with dignity, surrounded by other artists, making art to the day she died, winning a Hugo Award for the last book she wrote with her granddaughter, Emily Paul-Weary, her memoir. And let's think about what it was that we did the last time we had a crisis on the scale, the Great Depression, the enormous upswelling of public spending and public solidarity that led us out of that other horrible crisis. And while we're talking about the Great Depression, let us not forget the other tradition of the Great Depression, which was trust busting. We don't need to have a web consisting of 5 giant websites, each of them filled with screenshots of the other 4. We deserve more than 3 record labels, than 4 movie studios, than 5 publishers. We can and should have a pluralistic world, and this is our moment for it. And while I'm speaking of solidarity, let me finish by thanking some of the people who were so important to this. And of course, the first people to thank are my mother, Roz Doctor, my father, Gordon Doctorow, my wife, Alice Taylor, sitting here, my daughter, Posey Taylor Doctorow, sitting here, my brother, Neil, my sister-in-law, Tara, my nephew and niece, Jackson and Adelaide, the editors who believed in me and bought my work in early years, Scott Edelman, Renee Wilmeth, the editorial team at OnSec, Patrick Nielsen Hayden, and Gardner Dozois, rest in peace. The mentors, my agent, Russ Galen, my teacher who ran that workshop, Harriet Wolf, my colleague and now boss at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, Cindy Cohn, my old boss at Baca Books, John D. Rose, my old manager at Baca Books, Michelle Segura, who should also be getting one of these awards, my colleagues from the Cecil Street Irregulars, including Carl Schrader, who I wrote my first book with, Charlie Strauss, Mark Fraunfelder, and of course, Holly Phillips, who I edited a volume of Tesseracts with, my friends, Michael Jackal, Zach Hanna, Kate Reeve, Amanda Fobister, Emily Herson, Sky Solomon, the people who read my work when I was learning to be a writer and were so encouraging. And of course, to the whole of Canadian science fiction and the global science fiction community, to my readers, to the writers whom I read, to my publishers, Tor Books, Raincoast, Head of Zeus, and all the rest. And of course, to the jury. Thank you very much. I am so honored. That's a wrap. Oh my God, the world ended while I was speaking.
No, not at all.
Oh, there we are.
Cliff, can you find Cory's plaque? I'm kind of speaking into... There it is. Yes, thank you, Cliff. Let me see. Let's try a little bit tipped forward. Yeah, that's better. Okay, that one is going to be winging its way to you, however much Canada Post is having trouble winging things. Soon. And that is going to be up to Cliff because he's the man who has the real thing in hand. And thank you again, Cory, for the marvelous summation. Matt Hughes, for reasons that I'm not going to question, wasn't able to make this directly, but he has recorded a speech for us. And anytime that I've ever chatted with Matt or had anybody else chat with him, it does always come out in a very fascinating fashion. So if the man in charge of our voodoo can run that submission from Matt, I would appreciate it.
Hello. Let me begin by saying thank you to the people who nominated me and to those who thought I had done enough to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I guess I have to face the fact that I am indeed a science fiction and fantasy author. The funny thing is, I actually started out to be a crime writer. In the 90s, I sold a crime novel to Doubleday, sold stories to Alfred Hitchcock's magazine, and even won an award from the Crime Writers of Canada. Then, after the turn of the century, publishers began offering me contracts to write science fiction and fantasy novels, so I shifted focus. Though not entirely. I wrote stories in space opera and fantasy settings that were strongly reminiscent of the worlds Jack Vance created. But my characters tended to be thieves, burglars, fraudsters, henchmen, rogues. None of the wizards I created would ever have been mistaken for Gandalf. I suppose this is because my family has produced more minor criminals than scientists or magicians. Though I am the white sheep of my family, the genes still come through. So, having received the association's accolade, I suppose I have no choice but to go on writing about disreputable types who just happen to have spaceships or magic wands. My current project is an authorized sequel to Jack Vance's iconic series, The Demon Princes, which was about supercriminals. But I've been trying to make my main character a reasonably decent person. We'll see how that works out. Again, thank you for the honor. I do appreciate the encouragement.
Mark, thank you. I was very interested in what Matt was going to say. His background, which I had the privilege to hear, is a marvelous and colorful thing in itself. He's been a speechwriter to politicians. He left that one out. And, they say that what goes into writing is all of the aspects of your life, ultimately. And I guess with someone who has had as varied a life as Matt, the things that he writes about are bound to be really unusual. And he's become, I think, such a figure that, once again, as I said to Cory, it was long overdue for him to be inducted. At any rate, I've enjoyed doing this. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you so much, Clint, and congratulations to Heather and to Cory and to Matthew. Now, I have to admit, so Liz and I are crammed into this room in Waterloo, Ontario, and we're tripping over 2 dogs, 2 cats, and a skeleton named Barnaby all in this tight space. And I messed up because I've been tripping over some things and forgot to do the introductory segment. So we're going to do that right now. And this was the segment that should have introduced this portion. Thank you so much, Clint. And now we're in the segment of the results of the AGM, and I'd like to re-invite Cliff Samuels to join me up on stage here. Hey, Cliff.
Thank you. Yes, the AGM, the most exciting part of the fiscal weekend. Everybody just craves to know what happened. And actually, this year we had a little bit of an interesting vote. We have decided to take the short fiction category and split it into 2 new categories. One short story, and that's works just under 7,500 words. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a novelette and novella category. So those are the bigger works. So from 7,500 words up to 40,000 words. That was given unanimous assent from the people who voted for the AGM. So we're really thrilled about that. We also voted on where Canvention will be for 2022. And of course, it'll be out in the West, and Calgary has won that. So Calgary will be the host for 2022. Of course, last year, the vote for Canvention next year is going to be in Ottawa at CanCon. So Mark, I'm sure you'll be able even to drive to that one.
Yeah, hoping that we can actually get out and about again. Thank you for the AGM results, Cliff. Now, there's a new nominee pin, and we're doing the nominees a little bit different this year. You had one in your hand you were going to show. I'm wearing an old one right here, but there is a new pin that you can see in the top right of your screen.
Do you want me to do that, or would you like me to show the new award?
Well, why don't we show the new award? I asked for a pin, but you're going to go the whole hog and show me the full Monty here, aren't you?
Well, this year we had to rework the award. It turns out that the design that we had used, they don't make it anymore. So this is the new Aurora. I'm trying to get as much of it on screen as possible. It is glass. With a black coating, and then the name of the winner will be on it, and there is a metal piece on the bottom. It is heavy, deadly, and can do harm. So unlike some of the previous ones that could shred your clothing, I think this one could break a toe if you dropped it too much. We don't intend on having anybody drop the awards. But that was going to be handed out, so all this year's winners, people who are taking home a trophy, will get to take home one of those, and we will be mailing them out in its own special box.
Oh, that is beautiful. That is gorgeous. Thank you so much for sharing that, Cliff, and thanks for coming back onto stage. Liz is popping up some comments from people just on the screen from Jen and from Kat. Excellent. That is fantastic. So we're now going to talk about the nominees. The first-time nominees are going to be getting a pin, and Cliff is holding that up right there.
There we go.
Yeah, excellent. And what we're going to do is I'm going to play a short video where we're going to show the names and the categories and read them of all of the first-time nominees. And then after that, we are going to get into the giving out of the heavy award that is going to break somebody's toe. M.J. Lyons, young adult novel. Max Gladstone, short fiction. Maria Haskins, short fiction. Y.M. Peng, short fiction. Michael Nickel Yagolanis, graphic novel. Cole Pauls, graphic novel. Clara Blackwood, poem, song. SWATI CHAVDA, poem, song. Tyler HAGEMANN, poem, song. Francine P. Lewis, poem, song. SORA, poem, song. Jen R. Albert, related work. CHERAE Clark, related work. Kat Gordon, related work. Talia C. Johnson, related work. Cory Selyak Byrne, related work. Alexander de POMPA, related work. Steve Blackman, visual presentation. William Lauren, visual presentation. Glenn Davis, visual presentation. Adam Barken, visual presentation. Jonathan Lloyd Walker, visual presentation. Nathan Frechette, artist. Katie Brisky, fan organization. Jen R. Albert, fan organization. Evan May, fan related work. Congratulations to all of the first-time nominees. Cliff showed the pin. You will be getting that pin in the mail. And so now that we have revealed what the award looks like, we have inducted our wonderful Hall of Fame people into the Hall of Fame. Let's get to the very first award in the 2020 Aurora Awards. So we're playing a little bit of clip there because we only have room for about 10 people in the green room, in the back room at a time. And so that gives the people who are nominees, they're now getting into the green room and tripping over each other and you know, fighting over the charcuterie and all the things they're doing in the green room. So that's why we're playing that. And then I'm going to tell you what the award is, and then we're going to hear who the nominees are in this category. So best fan-related work. Now this category covers presentations, performances, fan music of all types, APAs, podcasts, and unpaid art by a Canadian in the previous calendar year. It must be done for a related event or publication associated to the science fiction and fantasy genre. And the nominees in Best Fan-Related Work are Brendan Crilly and Evan May, Broadcasts from the Wasteland podcast. Kari Morin, Music on YouTube channel. Derek Newman Still, Speculating Canada. Joshua Pantalaresco, Just Joshing, podcast. Edward Willett, The World Shapers, podcast. Congratulations to all nominees. Now, Cliff has mailed me these beautiful, gorgeous, sealed envelopes, and I get the honor of opening these envelopes and telling you that the award goes to Derek Newman Still, Speculating Canada. Congratulations, Derek. Derek, come on stage, please.
Hello.
Hey, Derek.
Sorry, it took me a little time to get logged in here, but thank you so much. This is extremely exciting.
Awesome. Do you want the whole stage to yourself, or are you happy sharing the stage with me to do your acceptance speech?
Yeah, let's share the stage.
Awesome. So I will be supporting you from the side.
Thanks, Mark. So I just want to really thank everyone in the community for all the support they've shown with Speculating Canada over the years, because we've had a long go of it. And it's been really exciting to be able to build some community and to share ideas with other folks and to also learn from each other. And I think that's one of the strengths of our Canadian SF community, is that we're constantly learning from each other, that we're constantly adding new perspectives and gaining new insights. And that's kind of what I had hoped Speculating Canada would be. It's a space for people to share ideas, to get insights from authors that maybe otherwise wouldn't get out there. I know a lot of authors have said that I ask the questions that no one else asks because I guess I just feel like some of those questions just come from my own giant nerdy fandom, and I just have to know the answers. So I ask folks a lot of those questions. But I'm really thankful for the kind of support that we have as an SF community. And also for the opportunities for us to build community together. I think there's a lot of power in creating community as a group. This past summer, I've been doing little Speculating Canada workshops, writing workshops for folks to try to help folks get through the COVID situation. I think it's amazing that When Worlds Collide has gone online as well to allow us to continue to work together, even though we can't be there in person. So I just wanted to thank everyone in this amazing community for continually surprising, amazing, and inspiring me. So thank you so much to all of you out there in our community. And I'm really honored to be able to be part of that community with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Derek. And congratulations again.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm all emotional here.
Good reason to be emotional. Well deserved, as you can see. Yay, Derek, I knew it. That is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, folks. And yeah, I look forward to continuing our conversations over the next few years.
Awesome. Thanks, and congrats again, Derek. Now on to our next category. This category is Best Fan Organizational. Now, this category is for Canadian fans who do organizational work on Canadian events that contribute to the science fiction or fantasy community. These can be conventions, clubs, or other activities. This covers literary, gaming, comic, and media events. All nominees and events must be run by volunteers who are not paid for their work and were done over the previous calendar year. And the nominees in this category are Katie Brisky and Jen R. Albert, Ephemeral Reading Series, Toronto. Brent Jans, Pure Speculation Science Fiction Fantasy Festival, Edmonton. Derek Kunskin and Marie Bilodeau, co-chairs, CanCon, Ottawa. Randy McCharles, chair, When Words Collide, Calgary. Sandra Wickham, Creative Ink Festival, Burnaby, BC. Those were the nominees. Congratulations to all nominees. And the award for Best Fan Organizational. These are beautiful envelopes, by the way, Cliff. It goes to Derek Kunskin and Marie Bilodeau, CanCon, Ottawa.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, just going to bring you up. Now, do you guys, I'm going to step off stage and you two can share this.
Yay.
Hey, Marie.
Hey, Derek. Yay. Virtual hug.
Thank you.
Nice
it's wonderful working with you, Marie.
Wonderful working with you too, and with everybody who helps us make this happen.
Yes, we should probably start our speech.
Do it. Do you have it?
Okay. I didn't color code it, but here it is. So last year, we had the honor of hosting the Aurora Awards, and when we won, we asked all our volunteers to stand up and be recognized because there are so many people who make CanCon happen, and we can't ask them all to stand up now, although Marie might make you stand up later. But I want to thank volunteers like Kate Hartfield, Marie-Pierre Bouchard, Evan May, Brandon Crilly, Julianne Lee, Courtney Fernandez, Aaron Rockford, Katie Brisky, Nicole Lavigne, Marco Cultrera, Jaggy Sue, Tyler Goodyear, Lana Kamarich, and all the other on-site volunteers who make the convention work. 2019 was an amazing year for CanCon as well. We couldn't have done it without our guests of honor like Kelly Robson, Charlie Jane Anders, Lee Harris, and Dongwan Song. And we also launched for the first time a science literacy track, and we had some amazing guests there too. Deborah Raji from New York, Brock Dickinson, Stephen Leahy from Toronto, and we also had some amazing panelists. And we also want to thank SIFWA for their financial support in launching our literary track and supporting the City of Ottawa, which helped us add to our accessibility measures. And we also want to thank our founders, Farrell McGovern and Jim Bott. Marie, why don't you go? Because there's probably something that stopped being read.
No, it's still read. You have the next.
Do you want me to thank the hotel?
Oh, I can thank the hotel. We want to thank, and you did very good, by the way. Good job. We want to thank the Ottawa Sheraton, whose staff is without equal in the industry. We know you're hurting right now. We thank you for everything and for letting us, our little event, take over your space once a year. And we hope we'll meet again. Event management can be overwhelming, and we're facing an entirely new set of challenges now. As event managers, we sometimes forget the impact we can have on our community, but it's our responsibility to take care of our own. If you're organizing SF writing events for profit, you're kind of in the wrong line of business. But if you want to make a positive impact on the community, do the work. Set up a solid code of conduct and enforce it. Invite new voices. Be accessible. You won't get everything right, and that's okay. Keep on learning, keep on listening, keep on becoming better. Surround yourself with good people. Do more. It can be overwhelming, so focus on what you can do now. Right now, you can elevate Black voices, women in SF, disabled writers, LGBTQ+ voices, people who have traditionally been left behind partly because events haven't been accessible. Virtual events are helping to level out the playing field. Let's make sure that when we can all meet in person again, that playing field stays level. We're happy to work with other events to share resources and happy to continue working with our community to keep pushing ourselves to do better. Thank you so much for this. It's 1 year in a continuous journey. Let's keep moving up the road together. We still have a lot to do.
Congratulations again. Liz is going to share some of the comments that people are leaving for you guys. This is on. We should have gone with matching bow ties, Derek. We should have consulted.
But then how would people have told us apart?
That's true. That is so true. That is so true. Well, you're much more handsome than I. That's one of the ways. And we have books behind us. There's a lot going on here. A lot of commonality. Excellent. Well, congratulations again. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we're going to move on to the next category. Best fan writing and publications. This category encompasses all forms of fan, that means unpaid, writing, including single articles, letters, and reviews, or the publication of fanzines, newsletters, and other publications. Works can be either in print or online, whose content significantly relates to science fiction or fantasy, done by a Canadian at least once during the calendar year. This category does not cover works that have commercial products for sale or are dedicated to a professional group or person. And the nominees in this category are R. Graham Cameron, weekly columns and amazing stories online. R. Graham Cameron, Polar Borealis, issues 9 to 12, editor. Jennifer Desmarais, Traveling TARDIS, generic designs. Steve Fonestock, weekly columns and amazing stories online. Ron S. Friedman, Will Voyager Leave the Milky Way? Quora. Christina Vasilevsky, Books NT. And the award in this category goes to R. Graham Cameron, editor, Polar Borealis.
Wow.
Welcome and congratulations, Graham.
Thank you. Oh, well, needless to say, I'm very pleased to accept this award. To explain, my retirement hobby is promoting genre authors, poets, artists, editors, and publishers. Because it's loads of fun to do this and is its own reward. So winning an Aurora for my hobby activity is icing on the cake. It makes it even more fun. But the thing is, there's an incredible amount of Canadian talent in the field today. Anything we can do, you and I, as fans and readers, to promote and support these wonderfully creative people is vital and necessary in these hard times. And that's why I pursue my hobby, why I support the Auroras, and why I support Canadian genre fiction. Admittedly, not only for whatever good my support does, but for the sheer fun of it. But the fact is, I love to celebrate what other people in this wonderful and diverse field do, both the professionals and the fans. It's a heck of a hobby, and I recommend you take it up now, even before you retire. So thank you very much. I'm very happy.
Congratulations again, Graham. We're going to share some of the comments.
Ah, terrific. Thank you, everybody.
Fantastic. Wow. So thank you very much. And again, congratulations. Let's go on to our next category, please. Best Artist. Best science fiction or fantasy artwork or body of artwork by a Canadian displayed or published within the calendar year. This category can be for either a specific piece of art, such as a book cover, or it can be for a body of work done during that year. Unlike the other categories, this category is not restricted to English language publications, since art is not word-based. And the nominees in a category of Best Artist are Samantha Mbiko, cover for Bursts of Fire. James F. Beveridge, cover for Fata Morgana and cover for On-Spec 112. Lynn Taylor Fonestock, a rivet of robots in On-Spec magazine and cartoons and amazing stories. Nathan Frechette, covers for Renaissance Press. Dan O'Driscoll, covers for Bondorian Press and cover for On-Spec magazine 110. And congratulations to the nominees. I have the envelope here, and let's find out who receives the award for Best Artist. The award goes to Dan O'Driscoll. Now, Dan is not able to be with us tonight, so Dan has actually sent in a speech, and I'm going to demonstrate how bad my eyes are because it's really, really tiny font when I printed it out. But this is Dan's speech. Dan says, thank you so much, and I'd like to express my congratulations to all whose work has been awarded today. I would especially like to thank Bondorian Press for the opportunities they've provided me over the past 10 years to produce some of my best work. The closing of Bondorian, announced earlier this summer, feels like the end of an era. Hayden always conducted Bondorian with professionalism, with respect for the creators and their work, and worked hard to produce the best book possible. I believe it would be greatly missed in this community. So thank you, Hayden and Liz. Take a break. You've definitely earned it. And I know you'll keep on doing great things. Thanks again. So some congratulations popped up on the screen for Dan. Of course, Dan is far better looking than myself, so I'm sorry that you had to look at and listen to me there. But let's move on into our next category. Okay.
These are the people. I don't know where the intro was.
I don't know. I read it. My apologies, the audio didn't come through on the wonderful recording I had done previously, and I didn't notice that when we played the clip that I must have loaded the prior one. So that was for Best Visual Presentation, and this category is about Best Science Fiction or Fantasy Movie, Television Production, Stage Play, or Similar Work. This award recognizes excellence in visual presentation. Nominees must be Canadian and are determined by the quality of the overall presentation done in the calendar year. Works will be judged on the acting, writing, direction, cinematography, and production quality. Nominees will mostly be the show's producer, director, or showrunner. And so we heard the nominees, or we saw the nominees. Well, it was a visual, right? So with visual, we should maybe just look at them, maybe appreciate that. That's just me trying to cover for messing up. And so the Best Visual Presentation award goes to, watch, I'll do something visual and trip or get a paper cut while I open this. It goes to the Umbrella Academy, Steve Blackman. Congratulations to Steve and the Umbrella Academy. I'm checking to see if Steve has sent in a speech, and I don't have a speech from Steve. So on behalf of Steve and on behalf of the Umbrella Academy, I would like to say thank you so much for this honor. So now we're going to move on to the next category. This category is a best related work. And this is best science fiction or fantasy, literary criticism, book review, CD, critical editions, screenplay, anthology, or a single author collection released as a book in English by a Canadian published within the calendar year. This category covers all professionally written works that are not covered in the previous professional categories. And the nominees for best related work are Podcastle, Jen R. Albert and Sheree Clark. Nothing Without Us, Kat Gordon and Talia C. Johnson. Neo-Ops' science fiction magazine, Carl Johansson. Lackington's magazine, Reynold Roquildas. Dave Duncan's Legacy, Robert Monte. Augur magazine, multiple issues, Kayri Salyak-Byrne and Alexander de Pompa. On Spec magazine, managing editor Diane L. Walton. Congratulations to all nominees. And the award for best related work goes to Diane L. Walton, managing editor on Spec magazine. Congratulations, Diane, and thanks for joining me on stage.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. And hang on, I've got to mute something on the other side here.
There's an echo there, isn't there?
Okay, that's better.
Okay, excellent.
It's complicated. All right, there we go. Okay, I'm stunned. Wasn't expecting this. Haven't got a speech prepared. So this will be really, 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 really short. And so many people ahead of me have said the kinds of things that I would have said, loved to have said. We're a community. We are all so much in this together, and I've spent so many years just getting to know a whole bunch of you. And the fact that we can't be together physically this year is a real, I don't know, I'm torn. But I'm very happy to be still working with OnSpec. I have an incredible team of editors, and they're all like right now even busy reading Slush, and I keep sending them emails. Have you done that? Do you want more? Do you want more? And they keep saying, yeah, sure. So we're putting together a product that we love, and it's a labor of love. And I'm really, really, excuse me, losing my voice. I'm really amazed that the community has voted for us again this year, because there's such an amazing number of people that deserve this award, and everybody else in this category. Yay, you guys are great, and we love it. So, thank you.
Awesome, and congratulations again, Diane. Liz is going to pop up some comments from folks who are congratulating you. So it's like having applause, right? As you're standing on stage and I'm handing you the award and I accidentally almost drop it on your toe, but we don't want to do that. Yeah, you're holding the award up and people are cheering and applauding.
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you again, Diane, and congratulations.
Thank you very, very much. Thanks.
So the next category is Best Poem or Song. This category is for a poem or song in English by a Canadian published or performed within that year. This category covers poems and songs performed in English. A song includes lyrics and music. A song may be available as a document that includes lyrics, manual notation, as a recording, as a performance at a fan event, or any combination of these ways. And the nominees for Best Poem or Song are The Girl Who Loved Birds, CLARA Blackwood. At the Edge of Space and Time, SWATI, CHAVDA. Steampunk Christmas, David Klink. The Day the Animals Turned to Sand, Tyler HAGEMANN. Totemic Ants, Francine P. Lewis. Beauty Sleeping, Lynn Sargent. Bursts of Fire, SORA. The award for Best Poem or Song goes to... This category is a tie. So this goes to At the Edge of Space and Time by SWATI CHAVDA and Bursts of Fire by SORA. Could you both please join me on stage? Thank you. Excellent. Congratulations to both of you. So I'll probably step off, and do we want to flip a coin as to who gets to go first?
Why don't you go
Or does anyone feel brave? SORA, you want to go first?
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to. Well, thank you so very much for this tremendous honor. I am so very grateful for the recognition. It's particularly meaningful to me because it comes at a time in my life when I've had to put my music on hold a little bit in order to finish a master's degree. So it's an amazing reminder to me of how much I love writing music, how much I love giving musical voice to evocative stories. Because to me, the magic of storytelling is how it opens worlds while still examining our shared connections. And I know that that's pretty much what Mark said at the beginning of this, but I wrote this last night, so I was like, wow, there's so much serendipity, synchronicity here. But many of my creative words are sparked through these worlds and through these connections. And this was the case with Bursts of Fire. So I want to give my most wholehearted thank you to Susan Forrest and Laxa Media for asking me to give voice to Susan's poignant story. I want to thank Vanessa Cardwi for recording it and for Dave Settle for his musical contributions. I also want to thank my partner, Dave, and my children, Karina, Melaine, Naya, and Lucian, for their unending support and belief in me. And finally, thank you so much to all of you. This means so much to me. Thank you.
Hi. This is really thrilling. I did not really expect it. There were so many good poems in this, and I was just not expecting. Though Mark had actually told us to prepare a speech, and I had thought about what I was going to say in case I won, so I am going to say it. Firstly, I would like to thank my husband, author A. David Singh, because he encouraged me to publish this collections of poems, which I was not very sure whether they were publishable or not, but he encouraged me and told me to. I actually wanted to publish an illustrated poetry collection, and I was not very sure whether that would work, and he said that it would, and that gave me confidence, and I just went ahead and published it. So thanks, honey. Thanks for that. Second, I would like to thank my father, who passed away in 2008. This collection of poetry, actually, I had written these poems when I was in college. That is like in prehistoric times. So I used to, I was not very sure what I should do with these poems, and they were just lying around. And my father, he told me to keep them, and I kept them. And he was my first fan. So, Dad, here's for you. Thirdly, the third person I want to thank is not a person, but a country, because I came to Canada from India in 2009. I immigrated then, and ever since I came here, I have always been. I have felt welcomed from day one. I felt at home, and especially the Calgary writing community. It really made me one of their own. So it just feels wonderful now to be a part of Canadian SF community, and I think it just also shows that Canada it accepts the diversity in so many ways, always making me feel home. So it was wonderful. And lastly, I would love to thank all the people who have voted for me. I hope you enjoyed the poems, and I think all the other nominees were great. I'm looking forward to reading more of their works. Thanks so much.
Congratulations, both of you as well. I want you to stand on stage here with me while Liz pops up some comments of congrats from the audience from across Canada and maybe even other countries around this wonderful world of ours. So congratulations to both of you. And that is really exciting. A tie is always fun. You got to share this stage and share the honor. Very, very awesome. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
And now we're going to move on to the next category. Best graphic novel. This is best science fiction or fantasy graphic novel, single issue of a serial or an online comic in English by a Canadian published within the calendar year. This category is for published works that are mainly graphical. The nominees can be recognized for the written word, illustration, or color work. And because we're Canadian, that is color with a U, as Cory said earlier. And the nominees for best graphic novel are The Handmaid's Tale, the graphic novel, Margaret Atwood and Renee Nault. Krampus is My Boyfriend, S.M. Biko. It Never Rains, Kari Morin. Carpe Fin, A Haida Manga, Michael Nickel, Yagulanas. Taekwondo Warriors, Cole Pauls. And the award for Best Graphic Novel goes to Krampus is My Boyfriend, S.M. Biko. Now, Samantha could not be with us tonight, and Samantha did send a speech that I'm going to read for Best Graphic Novel. So congratulations, Samantha. And the speech is, I am so stoked and humbled and have all the feels about receiving this award for Krampus as My Boyfriend, which has been a passion project of mine since 2018. I actually started out as an artist before becoming an author and an editor, but I put it aside for well over a decade. Though I really had no idea what I was doing at the start, I've poured my heart into this funny, colorful, weird, heartfelt story, and I'm so proud of how far it's come. I'd like to thank my readers who always leave the most insightful commentary and shock me daily that people are actually reading it. But most of all, I'd like to thank my husband who gives me so much room to work on what is an extremely time-consuming and not fiscally rewarding enterprise, and literally vacuums under me while I'm stretching or coloring. And thank you, as always, to the CSFFA for this honor. So congratulations to S.M. Biko for this award, and there is applause by way of comments for S.M. Biko for this one. Thank you for sharing those comments, Liz. So one of the things I thought I would share is, you think I'm actually wearing a full tux, but the beauty of all of these virtual events that we're doing is that I can actually be in shorts, but also just have my tux top on. I'm wondering how many of the other presenters, of the other people who have come on stage with me, who would not go on stage in potentially their underwear or just shorts with a dressy top. Like Derek, for example, he had a bow tie on as well, but what was he wearing underneath? I wonder. But I also wonder what the next category is. Best short fiction. Best science fiction or fantasy short fiction in English with fewer than 40,000 words by a Canadian published within the calendar year. This category covers short form fiction in English such as novelettes, novellas, short stories, and flash fiction. And the nominees in this category are This Is How You Lose the Time War, Amali Motar and Max Gladstone. Clear as Quartz, Sharp as Flint, Maria Haskins. Alice Payne Rides, Kate Hartfield. Little Inn on the Jianghu, Y.M. Peng. Modigliani Paints the World, Hayden Trenholm. Blindside, Liz Westbrook Trenholm. And the award for Best Short Fiction goes to This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El Motar and Max Gladstone. Congratulations and welcome to the stage.
Oh, yay!
Hello.
Hi.
Congrats, guys. This is awesome. I'm going to step back and let you guys take the stage for this.
Thank you,
Thank
Mark.
you so much, Mark.
Oh my gosh. My tabs are wrong. Sorry.
Enough tabs these days. No, I mean, this is amazing. We just really like to thank you all. We're so honored and delighted to receive this award, especially given the amazing and extraordinary work of our fellow finalists. Thank you all so much to the volunteers and organizers who made it possible to pivot towards a full virtual presentation this year also.
This book would not have reached you in its final form, but for the hard work and good faith of our whole publishing team, including but not limited to Dongwon Song, Nava Wolf, Greg Stadnick, Molly Powell, Joe Fletcher, Millie Reed, and everyone at Saga Press and Joe Fletcher Books.
Our most heartfelt thanks are also due to friends and family, siblings, spouses who read drafts, offered love, encouragement, and in at least one case loudly proclaimed their dislike of novellas and co-written work in general throughout the composition process.
Sorry. And most of all, we want to thank our readers, everyone who's read this book and shared it, who found solace or energy in it, who quoted lines from it or made art from it, who's twined it into the strands of their own lives. You gave this to us, and we're so grateful.
Thank you. Stay safe and work for the liberation of all sentient beings.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations again. Why don't you stand on stage here while Liz pops up some of the congratulatory applause.
Hey. Hi, Dominic.
Hey! Oh, that's so sweet.
Yay.
Thank you guys again so much, and congratulations.
Also,
Thank
Max,
you.
you're an honorary Canadian, I've decided. I'm announcing it on this broadcast.
That's right. Max is an honorary Canadian. That's right.
Thank you. I'm extremely honored.
That is true. So co-author is how you can be nominated for an Aurora. It is really good to collaborate with a Canadian, not just because we apologize and take blame for everything, and we sometimes come with poutine and maple syrup, eh? All right. Let's move on to the next category. Best Young Adult Novel. Best Science Fiction or Fantasy Novel in English, over 30,000 words, written for young adults by a Canadian, published within the calendar year. A work that is less than 30,000 words and is published as a standalone book can be allowed in this category if the author wishes it. Authors have the option request that their novel be judged in the adult novel category. That may be changing, of course, for next year with the AGM results, but let's find out who the nominees for Best Young Adult Novel are. Wolfsbane, Kelly Armstrong. The Brilliant Dark, The Realms of Ancient, Book 3, S.M. Biko. The Eric Wise Chronicles, Metamorphosis, Marty Chan. Bursts of Fire, Susan Forrest. Murder at the World's Fair, M.J. Lyons. One of the things that you guys can't see, but Liz and I can see, are all of these wonderful nominees, or most of the wonderful nominees in the green room, sometimes even dancing when they see their name come up, or making cool gestures. The awesome things we get to see. But let's find out who is going to receive the award for Best Young Adult Novel. Best Young Adult Novel award goes to Bursts of Fire, Susan Forrest. Congratulations, Susan, and welcome to, well, Susan, who looks shocked, and welcome to the stage.
Oh my goodness, I certainly never thought this was going to happen, but I did wear a dress, so. Oh yeah, no, the people who are nominated in this category are so awesome. I really didn't think that I was going to be here tonight. So thank you, everyone. So here's what I said. I think that as science fiction writers, what we do here is really important. Speculative fiction is a literature of ideas. As art, it has the power to change the world. And I am absolutely blessed to have had the opportunity to work with Laxa Media, who are particularly cognizant of this. And Lucas encouraged me to delve into my family background and to do research to bring the issue of addictions forward through the power of story, the power of epic fantasy. So I'm thrilled. I do want to thank the readers and the voters who recognized all of the stellar works here. I'm just really honored to be included in this phenomenal company of artists. Lucas Law, as I mentioned, Laxa Media Group. No one could ask for a more creative and supportive publisher. Samantha Bako for her amazing cover. SORA for the beautiful music she wrote for the book. Holly Totten for her video filming and editing. Clint, Cliff, the Aurora organizers, Mark, WWC for hosting. And of course, I have to thank Dawn, my husband, and my family who were so supportive. Thank you, thank you.
Awesome. Congrats again, Susan. Please stand on stage for the virtual applause from the comments. Awesome. And we can always go back and look at those when we're less nervous, right? Exactly. That is fantastic. Thank you and congratulations again, Susan.
Thank you.
That is awesome. So we're getting now into the last category for the Aurora celebration this evening. Best novel. Best science fiction or fantasy novel in English, over 40,000 words by a Canadian published within the calendar year. A work that is less than 40,000 words and is published as a standalone book can be allowed in this category if the author wishes it. And the nominees for Best Novel are Haunting the Haunted, E.C. Bell. The Gossamer Mage, Julie E. Cherneda. A Brightness Long Ago, Guy Gabriel Kay. The Quantum Garden, Derek Kunskin. Jade War, Fonda Lee. Gods of Jade and Shadow, Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Congratulations to the nominees. And the award for Best Novel goes to The Gossamer Mage, Julie E. Cherneda. We did practice. I know that Julie was planning on being here. I'm just checking to see if she sent me a backup acceptance speech. I don't see Julie in the back studio, but we did test the technology. And I know that she was planning on attending, so I'm going to try and buy her a few seconds of that. But since I don't see Julie there, let's pop up some congratulations and applause for Julie. And I am sure that Julie would want to thank everyone for the acknowledgement. She would want to acknowledge all of the amazing nominees in the category, who she respects and admires. She would probably want to thank her husband, Roger. She would probably want to thank the Academy. But on behalf of Julie, I thank you so much for this award for Best Novel. And as you can see, there's plenty of wonderful congratulations popping up on the screen. So that was the final category in the Auroras. This is the first time we've ever done it this way. I hope I didn't trip too much. The animals behaved in the room here, so I only tripped over a dog once at one particular point in time. And fortunately, when the cat was bringing us a sock and meowing really loudly, fortunately, the mic was off because somebody else was speaking. I want to thank everyone for all the nominees, all the organizers and volunteers who make this happen. You guys do an amazing thing to help celebrate some amazing talent in Canadian writers. As Susan said in her speech, this story and the power of story in science fiction and speculative literature, it's the literature of ideas, of thought, of moving the world forward. Science fiction and fantasy can be a beautiful mirror held up to reality where we can share humanity in ways that we can step back and look at things and look at ourselves, look at character, look at societies, and look at change, hopefully positive change, even in dystopian fiction. I want to thank you guys so much for attending and watching. I want to thank so much the woman who you don't see, who's right beside me here, pulling the strings. Liz Anderson worked so tirelessly for the last 48 hours putting together the amazing visual presentations, as well as the charcuterie and Perrier water that we had in the green room. It was virtual, so there was enough to go around for everyone. There were even vegetarian options and vegan options. All kinds of choices were available. I hope you had a wonderful celebration. Congratulations again to everyone involved, to all of the category winners, to all of the nominees. The fact that you are producing and creating and helping other people to imagine. You bring life and power to the world. Thank you and congratulations for doing such a wonderful thing. Again, this is Mark Leslie Lefebvre. I want to also thank When Words Collide for hosting this virtual. When Words Collide pivoted and did an amazing job. There's an amazing conference going on. There's some celebrations. There is an after party going on, as well as other celebrations and more great panels and presentations and discussions tomorrow. So thank you to Randy and the folks from When Words Collide. Thank you, Liz Anderson, for all the amazing work you're doing. Thank you to Indiana and to Maya, the puppies, and to Atticus and to Meredith for not making noise while this was going on. I appreciate that, guys. You're getting treats afterwards. And I want to thank you again and say good night. We will see you next year at the Auroras in Calgary.